Hello, my name is Mary Roddie from Charing Cross Hospital in London and the UK OsiriX user group. Today I'm going to talk about the customization and use of anonymisation protocols within OsiriX to remove patient identifiers from your teaching cases. So I've opened OsiriX. At the time of recording I'm using version 8.0.1, the 64-bit version, and you'll see that there is a chest radiograph and a CT on a patient who I've called Robert Jones that's been imported into the documents database. So if I click on the metadata button, I will see all the personalised information about this patient in the different DICOM headers, including the name, the patient's physician, the hospital, and the patient's telephone number. In order to make this into a good teaching case, I want to get rid of all this patient identification and also to label the case. Now, there is an anonymisation protocol within OsiriX that allows you to either take out certain DICOM headers, or if you want to put your own text into a DICOM header, and that might be the case number or other information about the case. When you first get OsiriX, it will have a very small number of DICOM headers within this anonymisation protocol, but you can customize it to put in exactly the DICOM headers that you would like by simply selecting DICOM tag, picking the header that you would like. For example, in this one, private information, pressing OK, then that DICOM header appears here and you can simply add it in. And that way you can go about building up an anonymisation protocol that will get rid of all the information that you need to get rid of on your patients. If for any reason you decide you don't want to have that DICOM header in there, you can just press the minus button and it will disappear again. So I can show you some of the protocols that we've set up at Imperial. The most useful one to show you is the personal museum, and what you'll see here is all the headers that in our institution we reset to get rid of patient information, but also certain DICOM headers where we add information about the case. And so that means that the case is not only anonymised but labelled ready for the museum. If you want all the examinations in a teaching case to appear in one line of your OsiriX database, it's important that the case number that you allocate to the case in the patient name field is also reproduced in patient ID and in study instance UID. We also use set DICOM headers for particular labelling of the case. So we use accession number for the age and sex of the patient. We use institution name for the Royal College of Radiologists module number. We use study comments for the type of examination, and we put the diagnosis and the keywords into study description. So I'm now going to anonymise this case. I can actually anonymise both the chest radiograph and the CT by highlighting both cases and then going to the anonymisation list. And if I pick personal museum, I'm asked to make some changes. So I know that this is a 76-year-old male. This is RCR Module 1. I'm going to label this case as I label my own museum cases, which is the first three letters of my first name and the first three letters of my surname. This is a chest radiograph and a CT, so I'll put that in here in the modality. And then in the diagnosis and keywords, I will put in anything that I might want to use to find this case in the future. So I might put retrosternal thyroid and superior mediastinal mass. I now can choose to either add this or replace it. It's safest to press add so that if anything's gone wrong you've still got the original case rather than replacing it. It's important to uncheck this box because otherwise your two anonymised cases will be put into different lines of the database. So I'm now going to press add. You can see it's processing this anonymisation, and now I have my case. I've got both the CT and the chest radiograph in the same line of the database. I can see easily the patient's age and sex and the diagnosis and the RCR code. So once you've anonymised a case, it's important to check the metadata of the anonymised case just in case anything has slipped through, and this will be relevant if you copy our preferences and put them into your own local protocol, because your DICOM headers may be slightly different from ours. So if we look at the metadata for this particular case, you can see the places where I've added in my new information to label the case, but you'll see that on this particular case there's a field which contains patient identifying information, in other words the patient's email address, and that's in patient telecom information. So what we need to do is to adjust our anonymisation protocol to include that field, and I'll show you how to do that. If you go back to the anonymisation protocol, and here it is with the findings that I still just put in, I need to add in that new field. So we do that by pressing select DICOM tag and then type in the thing that we want to find, which in this one, patient telecom, and here it is. So if we highlight that and press OK, this has now been added. If we press the plus sign, I now need to save this new protocol, so I press save and rename the personal museum and press replace, and now I've got a new protocol that includes the new DICOM header. It's now safe to delete the original images, and I'm left with an anonymised case. Now you might wonder why we've chosen these particular DICOM headers to label our cases in the museum. This is to allow us to use the web server function of OsiriX to make our cases available to radiologists at home as well as in the hospital, and we do that using our iRadiology site. And if we look, for example, at the discrepancy cases, you'll see that the way we have labelled the case allows these to be shown as a user is looking through the cases, so that they can find a particular case and look at it in more detail. So in summary, we've talked about the anonymisation protocol in OsiriX, how it can be customised in order to make sure no patient identifiers get left attached to the DICOM data, and also how you can use it to ensure standard labelling of museum cases. I hope you found that useful. I will leave the protocol that we use up for a few moments in case you want to try this for yourself. Thank you very much.